Hi, so this is the continuation of part 1 for the project 2 about optics, and this is more of the medical portion. So it has a lot to do with the eye, the human eye. So where to begin? I think it's appropriate to draw and label what happens in a normal functioning eye, just so we get the understanding of why this has to do with optics. So in the beginning, we all just kind of have to start with this little jut out of the let's continue, and then the other part of the spherical body. So this is actually the cornea. It's filled with a transparent gel liquid that helps it keep its spherical shape. And then we have the pupil would be the hole in the center that everything gets filtered through. But here we also actually have a converging lens that's attached to other muscle fibers, and we also have the iris and other apparatus there that help to filter light. But the iris is more so like going into dark and light places, so if it's really dark, your eyes need to be more dilated so that more light can get in, and if it's brighter, obviously your eye contracts so that less light can get in. So that's really the purpose of the iris, is really to filter out how much light gets in there, and that's what the portion is there. That's not so much about the optics. The optics really come from this lens here. The lens here can also expand and contract, and we can see how this can develop issues for people down the line, but that's a later part of this section. But what we'll see here is there's another point here. This will be where the optic nerve is. So that's where the optic nerve. So what ends up happening in the perfect world is that light is filtered into your eye, and then it is focused on that point there in the back of your eye where your optic nerve enters the eye. Now back here there's rods and cones in your back of your eye that actually perceive motion and color, and from there it'll send through the optic nerve to your brain. And that's how we perceive light, because the lens here bends the light to the focal point in the eye back here, which again is then received by the brain. Fun fact actually, there's a blind spot in all the eyes because where the optic nerve goes in, that's not sensitive to light, so it can't actually detect it. So everybody has a blind spot in both their eyes where their nerve is. So there's that. So where we can see that this would bring in trouble is in the focal point. We see here that it's perfectly nuzzled in right in the back of the eye, right where it's supposed to be. But a lot of the times people can have conditions of nearsightedness and farsightedness. So in nearsightedness, and what we can see is, I'll draw that here is actually the focal point of the eye. The light will bend in and actually focus in front of the eye. So then what we get back here is another, like a spread out image, or blurriness is what it's perceived as for people there. So nearsightedness is exactly what it sounds like. It's where the condition where people see better close up and things far away get very blurry. So this is how you get it technically. How you get it is mostly through genetics. So you're born with it. They can really tell in birth. How this actually happens is there's a few different factors, of course, just like anything. When you're born, it's either the length of the eye, because we can see here that the eye is somewhat perfectly circular, which is not always the case actually. Actually, it's very uncommon for your eyes to be perfectly circular. But if the length was increased, even in the healthy eye, so we move this focal point even farther away, even if it was bent to the original point, it would still not work as properly. So that's one of the causes. Another one of the causes, or something else that can cause it, is if your actual lens is too curved, because then it would obviously curve more aggressively and causing a new focal point out there, out and towards the middle. And again, that can cause nearsightedness. Now with farsightedness, it's the opposite of nearsightedness. It's not as common actually. Nearsightedness affects 1.6 billion people. Is actually very common. It's one of the most common eye abnormalities. And both of these actually cause some sort of like symptoms with them. They're not like terribly severe. A lot of like the age markers for like getting things checked, it seemed to be around 40 is what I was getting in the research. So that's kind of like the time you want to like get your eyes checked and all that other stuff. Of course, you want to get your eyes checked regularly. I know many eye doctors, and it's very important to take care of your eyes. But it seemed to be around the time of 40 where another cause of near and farsightedness, your muscles. So it's actually the lens here is attached. I try to draw little fibers here to muscles that expand and contract based on your visual needs. So this actually can cause a stress on the eye if you read too much or spend too much time, I don't know, playing video games on your laptop or on your phone or just doing anything else like that. It'll cause your eye to constantly be contracting because it's constantly needing to adjust the focal length of the lens, and it can cause nearsightedness and farsightedness, which again, both of those have symptoms that range from blurriness, obviously because they can't focus on the distance, poor eyesight, rubbing of the eyes in children, headaches too, because your brain doesn't get a clear signal, and after a while it just causes tenseness in the eyes and in the brain. So farsightedness, taking on that, is actually the opposite. So it's when its focal length is past the eye. So it's getting, again, a blurry image and not actually able to understand what it's processing, basically. So it's getting like a similar blurry vision. So basically, farsightedness is like the opposite of nearsightedness and how it's also caused too. So there's that. So then this brings us to the next point, how we found ways to account for this. So now we have glasses. I'm wearing contacts right now, but I'm partially nearsighted. And as we were talking about before, with magnification and just like lenses, I don't know if you can see, my glasses are kind of thick because my prescription is pretty bad. But that's what they do. What they'll end up doing is these lenses will help me see far away by already focusing even more light like a kind of like a pre-focused light to the eye that allows everything to be easier for the eye to actually focus on it. So that's the purpose of the glasses. In my case, they bend the light in so that it's easier for my eyes to actually take in the image and focus it properly. There's actually a lot that goes in with both glasses and contacts specifically because the actual like cornea or the jut out of your eye is kind of what the contacts are situated on, and every eye is different. They're not completely spherical in a lot of cases, so they need to be like properly fitted, and just like there's a lot that goes into them to make sure that like they actually have the right curvature and can actually situate on your eye. So they're actually pretty darn advanced, which is really good. But yeah, that's how glasses end up working. It's the focal point out there that helps to direct the light already. And so I think I'm gonna wrap it up here, and just to recap everything that was covered in this. So we originally started with lenses. lenses and their properties and what exactly happens with them, and then we had a couple formulas that were tailored to them. The f is equal to the distance from the object plus the distance of the image and the magnification, and we went over like what those actually meant and the applications of the answers to those. Then we went over some real world examples like the telescopes and how that is properly functioning, sunglasses polarization, and then the human eye. So thank you for consideration in this project. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoy grading it, and thank you. Bye-bye.